Activating programming.
Great idea!
I will register that as a 10. I am a wild robot.
Dracula's near and dear to my heart. He's like the Superman to Frankenstein's Batman. I don't know what that means, but it makes some sense up here.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Coley. Welcome to Scene on the Screen, brought to you by Make It Universal and Rotten Tomatoes, where we talk movies with some of the people behind the scenes at NBC Universal. When entertainment works best, sometimes it opens a window into a world we've never imagined. Other times, it shows us a mirror image of our lives with a heightened sense of home. Today, we're going to dig into the question, what have you seen on the screen that has done that? My guest today is Senior Vice President of Creative Content at Universal Pictures, Brett Levisohn. Brett, welcome to Scene on the Screen.
Hi, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
I love this question and your answer. I can't wait for folks to know, who are you and what do you do for NBC Universal?
I hope this is the hardest question of the day. I'm Brett Levisohn. I'm a Senior Vice President of Creative Content in the Universal Pictures Theatrical Marketing Group. What we do is we oversee all the making of, all the behind the scenes materials as captured on set. So we go out on sets, we work with incredible vendors, agencies, and producers as we go on set and tell all the stories of what happens there. And so we get to talk to the cast and the crew and the filmmakers, and all that is brought back to the studio, and it's used for certainly marketing, whether that's 15-second spots or pieces on social media or hour-long specials on TV. And then that material is also used to make the home entertainment bonus materials, to help with in our parks, give them content for the screens there, for the queues as you're waiting in line for the rides, as our sales teams and partnerships teams want to get more partners for a film, we use our content to create the reels that help them sell the films.
Oh, wow.
So it's an exciting job, and it's an exciting time to be doing it because it's constantly evolving. You know, we consider ourselves documentarians, as lofty as that might be sometimes, but we're out there to tell the real stories. And right now, again, it's fun to do it because audiences are reacting to it.
They really do love it.
Yeah.
As I like to say, you're the special features guy.
That's right.
I mean, like that DVD part of my like menu, or like the last part of the VHS, I always stayed for that, and I love that that's your team.
Yeah, it's really great, and we can create a different connection to a film through the personalities that we meet there. So I boil it down to the 4 Ps. This is a long answer to a short question, but we go on sets to try and get the people, personalities, processes, and passions. And if we can capture that in a really authentic way, audiences from all over the place are getting really interested in it and building this personal connection to a film.
So talk a little bit about your journey to the seat at Universal, because like so many of the folks that started here, it started with a passion for film that then you found the avenue to this as far as like first trailers and then production and then now.
Yeah, I've had a sort of circuitous route, and I always tell people, you know, there's no one way to do things in this business. And I've had this interesting and exciting, for me, blend of marketing and production. So from internships at college at UCLA, where I was in the marketing department, to getting production experience, lining scripts and going through all the production details, to working in development. I was an assistant to an executive at Sony, which was really interesting. We were working on the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man and
Wow.
Will Smith and Ali, but also I Still Know What You Did Last Summer and Can't Hardly Wait. So it was this exciting time, but I got a call from a guy who I was an intern for, who at Sony, this one of my mentors, Mark Schmugger, and he had become president of marketing at Universal. He called me to come over to help start something new, and it was the New Media Marketing Group, which has evolved into our digital marketing team, which is now one of the backbones of our marketing department. It was an extraordinary experience where I was a liaison between the production and the studio. So I got to work with every division across Universal and every division on the film set to create the books, the toys, the video games, the anime, the home entertainment content. When you look at these franchises and what it encompasses, it's huge. And when done right, it all starts with the set. And so like learning how many Swarovski crystals were on Dame Judi Dench's costume in that movie had an impact in what was shown at the premiere and fun facts that people can get into. And then I was asked if I would produce, and I became a behind the scenes producer, then went to an agency to do the same, was at Trailer Park for 10 years and got some extraordinary experiences, and then eventually was brought back in. So my journey here was 2009, and I never really left, but been an official employee back in action for about 5.5 years.
Which is so incredibly cool.
Yeah.
You've definitely worked on, I think, some incredible films during that time. And like you say, it's like you really want to pair the content with the movie. Is there one of those moments where you did one of those sort of out of the box sort of feature type contents for a film that you're particularly thinking of as memorable? Because it's not, you do the hour-long specials, you do the making ofs, but sometimes y'all do very specific little features that are so particular to a movie.
Yeah, as documentarians, we kind of cast a wide net. We should cover everything as much as we can, and then we build the stories from there. But we also go onto our sets with purpose and with intent. So we're not wasting the filmmaker's time, we're not distracting from the set, and we're able to make our way as sort of an independent crew within that context.
Yeah.
We do a lot of out-of-the-box stuff in editorial, but on Jurassic World, you step onto that set, it is massive. It is incredible. We created these pieces with Chris Pratt. Sort of went up to him on the first day of shooting saying, talk to our camera, play to our camera. We can do something. We want to chronicle your journey, because Chris Pratt's now like a bigger, more established star now, but that was like a big shot. Nobody had seen Guardians of the Galaxy
Not
at that point.
Yeah.
And so he played to our camera and just had fun. And we called it Chris Pratt's Jurassic Journals. And, one thing that did, not only was it fun and goofy, but you look at Jurassic World, you look at these big movies and you think, that's huge and that's unattainable. It's almost behind this veil of mystery. And there's something great about that. But we were able to make, and this is one of the great things we can do as a department, make a big film feel personal.
Yeah.
And that's what I was excited about. And it sort of set the tone for a lot of the social content that we've been creating, that you see our other films and other studios creating, where it's more of this interaction and also kind of letting loose a little bit, show people who they really are.
Dig that. All right, Brett. Well, now we're going to dive into some of the films that you've seen on the screen.
Oh,
and we're going to do this via our quotes. You see the podcast, right?
I've seen the podcast.
Good times. All right. A man tells his stories so many times that he becomes the stories. They live on after him, and in that way, he becomes immortal.
I know that movie. That one is really special to me. That's Tim Burton's Big Fish.
Why is that one so special to you?
Well, it's an incredible story about a man who tells these fantastical tales, a son who's a journalist who sort of is more into the truth and is disbelieving and hasn't really had that connection with his father, but the stories are bigger, and he hears this ad nauseum and doesn't believe it. But it became a big through line in the eulogy I gave for my father when he passed away. And the reason is I've sort of been brought up with parents who live these fantastic, amazing, unique lives. Specifically my dad, who in the 60s, he was a circus clown. So he traveled around the world, all these circuses in Europe, but then came to America and did Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus. So you put that in there and you get an immediate treasure trove of stories that he can tell at every party ever. And I heard them all. They even got crazier because after he decided to leave the circus, he contacted a friend of a friend and got a kangaroo. And at that time, there were variety acts going on. And he decided, I'm going to find my little corner of the sky there. And he got this kangaroo, trained with it, and he eventually boxed a kangaroo. And now I should be specific. My dad was a little person. He was a dwarf, so 4'2", going against an animal that naturally boxes in the wild. He didn't stand a chance. The kangaroo never got touched. My dad got his butt kicked multiple times a night. To the point that he performed in LA, but then went to Vegas and was performing at a hotel across from the Sands where the Rat Pack, after they'd be done performing, they would go watch his show. Wow. And so you hear these stories and you're like, bullshit. But then as a kid, I went to a celebrity golf tournament, as was big in the 80s. I guess still now. But Sammy Davis Jr. was at one, and he was called out my dad in the middle of the crowd. Was like, Billy!
Wow.
And it's like all these incredible experiences. Now, he eventually left the circus. We're all from South Africa. So went back home, met my mom, who was an opera singer at the time. And so she did that. They met while doing a show. She didn't do opera for much longer. He went in advertising, started his own publishing company. Weird jump. But my whole life, I was brought up with these stories, visiting California when we lived elsewhere, and staying with magicians and stuntmen, and really seeing different sides of this world and the people. But it all culminated in that movie, the stories of the circus, of boxing and kangaroo, of the Rat Pack, of opera, with my mom. And then she went to start a safari lodge in Zambia. And it's all these incredible things.
Feels like almost your autobiography.
Right. I'm working on it right now, starting now. But, then there's the connection, the deeper connection that goes beyond the stories. And while everyone has the issues with their parents in one way or another, what's come out of it, despite any sort of issues or complications we had, the stories remain.
I dig that. Also, I dig, in a way, by doing what you do, you're carrying on the family legacy on both sides, the advertising and the circus.
Yeah, it's true. Definitely really a lot of circus and razzle dazzle, as he would say.
Next quote. What happened was not your fault, but what you did to try to fix it is everything.
Oh, this just broke my heart in the theater. This is The Wild Robot. That's the latest passion project for us.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to talk about this because with a film like Wild Robot, really, I think anything with DreamWorks, because you're going into that legacy of this is the house that made How to Train Your Dragon and everything that we've done over there. There is more is expected. Yeah. And I think the DreamWorks fans, they expect the expansion. They expect the details. So how do you approach doing a film like this?
Well, I agree completely. I think DreamWorks' growth has been development artistically and storytelling wise has been incredible. To walk onto that campus, it's like a dream come true for me as a kid. You'll realize at some point I want to do every job in the entertainment industry, including animation, voiceover work, everything. But to approach Wild Robot, we knew early on, I got a little tip that it was going to be happening. I picked up the book, I read the book, it melted me. My daughter read the book in her third grade class. It was the first book that made her cry, I believe. And it made me think that this is like her E.T. And when I went to see E.T. as a kid and I was crying in the theater and I was sobbing at the end, my mom asked me, are you crying because you're happy or sad? It's like, I'm so happy. I was so sad. But I realized Wild Robot had a lot of that DNA. And then talking to Chris Sanders and the filmmaking team, and then the animators and heads of department and everyone along the line, we knew that it was special and it was very clear. And so, between ADR sessions and to the end, it was probably about 2 years of shooting and covering this. It's one of those things where it does become a passion project, not only for me personally and professionally, but for DreamWorks, it was so clear that this was something that was part of their evolution in a beautiful, all-encompassing way. When I had a chance, just as you did, to speak to Chris Sanders, I asked him kind of that secret sauce question, what is it? What do you bring? Everybody brings something to their jobs that's a little something special. And I said, what do you bring? And he basically, he sort of got emotional and said, belief. I believe in my team and I believe in the story. And with that belief, that helps motivate everyone going through. And there were just these little nuggets of beauty all throughout the production. And as much as I knew every detail and saw the passion of Chris Bowers, of Maren Morris, of everybody across DreamWorks, of Lupita, oh my God. I was sitting in the theater with my daughter. It was going to be a special moment. And I knew what was going to happen in this great, now famous migration sequence. And I was still bouncing, ugly, sobbing as my daughter's good. Are you okay? She did cry. She bleeds. She's human. But it's going to hit me forever. I
dig it. Great job.
Thank you.
Honestly, talking about Wild Robot makes me almost want to cry. And it's kind of like the thing with it. All right. Yeah. We're going to move on to our next popcorn bucket.
Oh, boy.
This is true or false. So this one's easy. 50-50 shot.
Okay, good.
All right. In the film Slither, the voice of Dr. Carl talking to Starla on the phone belongs to Trent Reznor. True or false?
I'm going to say false because I'm flashing back. It was not Trent Reznor. Rob Zombie.
It was Rob Zombie. Good pull. I was actually just talking about Rob Zombie last night because I was saying that Terrifier 3 is like House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I haven't seen Terrifier 3, but I was here for House of a Thousand Corpses.
And it's campy, it's dark, it's very graphic, but it's not the same type of horror like from like The Audition where it's like, no, I am afraid and grossed out. It's like it tickles you differently.
Yeah. And it was a interesting one here, like getting to work on it and getting so excited as a horror fan, meeting Rob, who, by the way, I hope I'm not ruining anything, is the sweetest guy.
Yeah.
Like walking through his production office, he's like, "You want a bagel?" And it's like, I didn't think Rob Zombie was going to be that guy. I also like Devil's Rejects, but
Devil's Rejects is another one though. That's great.
And that was the time I was watching a lot of horror movies, and working on Slither was this dream because I loved horror and Universal horror growing up. So to see all these incredible prosthetics, and I was a Fangoria kid. I loved all that stuff, and it was like goopy, gory aliens and slugs and blood and exploding people and mutations and pus. It was a dream. So much slime and grossness, and that was a fun one. And to see James Gunn at that point and what he's become is incredible.
Quentin Tarantino spent 5 years writing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as a novel before realizing a film script would be better to suit the material. True or false?
Makes sense. I read the novel that he came out with, and it's so good. I'll say, just because I know he's gotten into writing novels, I'll say true.
Yeah.
I'll say true.
Yeah. He did not know it was going to be a feature. I knew that one as well. And yeah, I think that man is just about story and dialogue.
Yeah.
Also, there's just like a huge cool factor to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, I think all of the characters are cool like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if there was anyone I'd probably want to hang out with from any movie, I want to hang out with Cliff Booth. I know my wife does, but I want to hang out with Cliff Booth. He's a good time, a good friend. Little story, speaking of Cliff, one of my favorite moments is, his good friend pep talk to Leonardo DiCaprio's character, which is like, "You're Rick fucking Dalton." And there are places every once in a while for a little Zen moment. I drive around a lot here. I get in a golf cart. I get to that part. They shot the Old West portion here on the lot, and I go to that area, and I just sort of say to myself, like, "You're Rick fucking Dalton." That's where, and then I go through the whole scene where like Leo's there with the girl reading the book, and she's brilliant. And it's this lot gives those sort of great opportunities, and it's like a tour through childhood, through modern movie making, and like I've brought my kids here before, and one of the perks of the job sometimes, and like getting my kids to like touch the wood that isn't actually wood, to see the movie magic and that craftsmanship. And for me, whenever we would see blood on the screen as a kid, my dad's like, "It's just ketchup," and then I learned it's not much. I mean, it's not ketchup, but it's still fake, and there was a beauty to that artistry. So that's one of my favorites. That hit me a lot, and I feel like there is something really special about that film that makes me reinforces why I love filmmaking, and I love films about filmmaking. There's so many great stories to tell.
Excellent job,
Thank
sir. I will say you did very, very well. I don't know if I'll be able to keep this trend going, but I'm going to try. I'm going to hand this over to you.
I've got the globe. I've got the whole world in my hands.
We're going to pop into the world of Universal. If you could pop that top just like a... Yeah, there you go.
Do it elegantly.
Yeah, there we go. And then, same as you, I'm going to have some quotes, but I get multiple choice because supposedly they're harder, but we'll see.
"Oh, please, I'm not setting my daughter up with an attractive, charming musician who will just break her heart. A, is it because I said so? B, Mamma Mia. C, get him to the Greek."
Mamma Mia. Is it not? It's because I said so? Oh my God, Diane Keaton said that.
Yes.
Oh my God, man. They wanted to get me and they got me. Diane Keaton and Because I Said So.
Yeah, that was another one I got the chance to work on.
Because I Said So was good. The Mandy Moore, Diane Keaton energy was hilarious.
It was great.
You look like you're asking for it. I want to look like I'm asking for it.
There you go.
See, I can remember that quote.
There's the quote. Wow, that's amazing. That is so impressive. Yeah, what an incredible, crazy experience. All right, are you ready for the next one?
You gotta try.
All right. I would do the particular voice, but that would give it away. I'll kill you with my teacup. Is it A, Johnny English, B, The Chronicles of Riddick, C, Downton Abbey?
Chronicles of Riddick.
That's absolutely right. And I can't do the voice. I can't get down there.
Okay.
But
I literally was so close to saying Johnny English because I did not remember that. But then I was like, no, it's Chronicles of Riddick. I know it has to be because, I remember the scene now. Now I remember the scene. Yes. Okay.
In the slam, in the prison. That's right.
I'll kill you with my teacup. Now I remember it.
I love it. That movie is forever with me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. The audio person is like, why is she yelling?
I've been giving them a run for their money. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll kill you with my teacup. That was an incredible movie.
Yes,
just to work on. It's
and
so
with
good.
Judi Dench.
Watching her perform, incredible. Okay, how am I supposed to get more experience by staring at four walls all day? Is it A, Animal House, B, Dream House, or C, Safe House?
Safe House, definitely, with Ryan Reynolds and Denzel. I remember that one.
Yep.
Yes.
Another one that, is near and dear to my heart, that was filmed in Cape Town, and I got a chance to work on it. And so there's working with Denzel, which is the coolest thing in the world, intimidating and terrifying. Then you realize most of the time when he's playing a sociopath, he's in character. He's just sort of in the zone. That man walks on set, your stomach churns, and you're like, I got to be the best person I can be. It's like when Tom Cruise walks onto a set, it's like, I got to be the best version of myself. But to be in South Africa, I got a chance to stay with my family and connect with them there, which we haven't been able to do in my entire life.
That's so cool, though.
Working on a big action movie across that country in unique locations, beautiful locations, and in the townships too, where you just see a different side of life. And when Hollywood comes to disrupt a township, it's quite a thing. You know, the townships there filled with beautiful people and, experimental, improvised dwellings in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of violence and we were in a township that was known to be one of the most dangerous, but we were doing scenes where there were a lot of gunshots and a lot of, wild explosions and a lot of loud noises. And we were shooting it at about 3 a.m. And they notified local townships, but not everyone got the memo. So everyone thought fighting and violence had broken out in this township. And the producers, eventually spoke to the elders and patched it all up. And it was a big PR effort just to reassure everyone that it's okay. But it's interesting when you make movies and you get stories like that you could have never predicted. It's like, oh my gosh, we're doing, our job and making this movie, but the effects that it has on the environments in which you shoot and how much those locations do become key elements, if not characters in the films, is remarkable. So Safe House was a big opportunity and a big, important personal moment for me. It was also when my wife was about to give birth to a baby. So, and our first baby. And so I would be getting calls, and we had a code word that I won't repeat here, but it was basically like, get your ass home.
Oh my God.
24-hour flight to make it in time for the birth of my
Did you make
boy.
it?
I made it.
Okay.
I made it.
That's the only thing that matters.
Exactly.
All right. A little bit of debit before you get out of here. There's one more thing you have to do.
Yeah.
Rapid fire movie questions. What's your favorite movie snack?
Oh, I'm straight ahead popcorn. Like,
Really?
I'm classic popcorn. It's my favorite thing. I mean, I love my Reese's Pieces too, but give me a popcorn and a large Diet Coke and I am the happiest guy.
All right. Last show you binged?
I have been doing these things at the end of every night since COVID, watching sitcoms throughout the history of time. The last show I binged, I'm in the middle of Northern Exposure, but I did, I want to say the last one was Cheers.
Nice.
But I've gone Dick Van Dyke throughout the history of television for my half-hour sort of pass-out show.
That's a good one. Going to the movie theater alone, yes or no?
Oh, God, yes.
Definitely.
I love it.
Favorite classic Universal film?
There are so many good ones, but I'm going to go Frankenstein.
That's a good one.
And, I love Dracula's near and dear to my heart. He's like the Superman to Frankenstein's Batman. I don't know what that means, but it makes some sense up here. But I think that Dracula belongs to a lot of different studios and has been done so many times. Nobody's done Frankenstein quite like this. Nobody's come to embody universal horror or the vision of a particular character quite like that. And it's just iconic. And that film hits me. Bride hits me. And to be on the lot every time I see Frank, looming from the walls, because I can call him Frank, it just warms my heart. So I'm going to say Frankenstein.
I dig it.
They did Universal Horror right.
They did do Universal. I'm with you on that one. The House Built of Monsters.
That's right.
Brett, this was really great to chat with you.
I love it. There's a line in the movie Grand Canyon that says basically all of life's great questions can be answered in the movies. And I've found that to be true in a lot of different ways. There's a movie for every one of my moods. There's a movie for every one of my thoughts. And there's movies that can answer the questions. So just thanks for giving me a chance to ramble. I've loved this.
Anytime.
Awesome. Thanks.